Though there's a huge rumor out there about the Fantastic Four, saying that they have their director and have cast their Sue Storm, that being Bryce Dallas Howard. And adding some speculation to that, I believe the Fantastic Four was never or will never be based in the MCU 616 universe. In fact, the entire Fantastic Four movie could be set in an entirely different alternate universe. And in this video, I'll explain how that's not just possible, but also probable, and how it might help Bryce Dallas Howard's job as the director and Sue Storm easier. What's up? I'm Kendall, aka the Nerd Sensei at Normies to Nerds, where we give you the latest in nerdy and blurry MCU news. Thank you for stopping by, and make sure you drop a like and subscribe to the channel. We're on the grind to 1,000 subs. Now let's get it. This Bryce Dallas Howard news shook the internet today, as she is rumored to be taking over as Sue Storm and director of the film after Jon Watts walked away from the role. And for the most part, I've seen a lot of people be positive on it, and I am as well. I think Bryce Dallas Howard will be a great addition to this movie as a director, and honestly as Sue Storm. That's a role that I could see her doing a pretty good job in, bringing an aspect to the character that we've yet to see on screen. And on top of that, in the tea leaves, because people were thinking that John Krasinski was to be next up to be the director of this film, he has signed on to be the executive producer of this film, according to the rumors. So he and Bryce Dallas Howard working together here, I think, is actually a great idea, and it's something that is going to help this movie succeed. But also, too, I would love for Faggy to have his hands on this movie a lot. Just let Bryce and John work on things on the story aspect, but I really need Kevin to come in heavy with the Marvel aspect of this as well, because it has to tie into Secret Wars. And if you're enjoying this video, thank you for hanging out, and please drop us up to this channel, because now we're going to Speculation Town and how this Fantastic Four movie could be the first in the MCU to be set outside of the MCU 616 timeline. And I know how it sounds, like after all of this time of wanting to see the Fantastic Four in the MCU, making that movie in an alternate universe seems a little bit senile. But I have a few reasons as to why that would make the most sense story-wise, and why fans would still be eager to see the movie. First, let's think about John Krasinski's Reed Richards in the Multiverse of Madness. No one questioned who he was or why he was so important, because much like the MCU Spider-Man, we don't need an all-out origin story to take up an entire movie for the Fantastic Four. But also, what I believe is the biggest setup in Multiverse of Madness, that being the incursions leading to Secret Wars, has to be heavily featured in the Fantastic Four movie. To know Reed Richards is to know that he is the smartest man in the universe, and was the lead in figuring out the incursions and also ending Battleworld, the follow-up to Secret War. Even though Wanda shredded Earth 838's Reed like some cheese, I believe there's other Reeds throughout the multiverse finding out about the incursions at the same time. Kind of similar to when He Who Remains says he and other King variants discovered the multiverse around the same time in Loki. Hold up, that point right there also provides more logic as to why Reed Richards and the First Family as we know them cannot already exist in the MCU, especially if we're already inside of the Secret War saga. Because I don't think it would make sense for the most complicated problem that the MCU has ever faced, solved by someone who just became a hero right after the blimp. It just doesn't add up, my boy. Unless Reed in the MCU is like some sort of child prodigy, it's a no. And again, we're already in Secret Wars, so I don't think Reed or the Fantastic Four has time to evolve where they need to be in the Secret Wars saga. I mean, shoot, even if they traveled back from time or was trapped in time in some type of scenario, that wouldn't make sense either, because Reed needs to be a developed character in the current story to study their incursions. That's why a multiverse Reed is the best option. And wait, before you shut me out, here's how a Fantastic Four movie would work in a different universe. But before I give you that, drop a like and subscribe to the channel, and let's take this trip on this theory. Get into the movie with the Fantastic Four already established and respected as top tier superheroes in the universe. That's very similar to ours, and a lot of the same characters too. And the universe could be so identical to the 616 that we might not even be aware that it isn't in the 616 for the entire movie. That is until we see someone who is presumably dead in the 616, T'Challa, as he brings a prisoner to his good friend Reed Richards by the name of Clea, who in this case I think is replacing Black Swan's role as they learn about incursions for the first time on their Earth. Just a quick side note right there, that would blow the Fantastic Four out of the waters when it comes to social media, and also make recasting T'Challa a much easier process by gradually shifting him in through the multiverse. But another area where this will switch up from Hickman's Time Runs Out run, which is where I'm really pulling a lot of this inspiration from, is that it's the First Family investigating the incursions rather than the Illuminati. And this is where we bring in Dr. Doom. In the comics, an incursion happens in Latveria, where Doom found out about what the Illuminati was doing and what was happening. In the movie, I think this would be a different switch as to where Doom would find out about this, but it would become a violent conflict between Doom and the First Family, and it starts to go all out, and would be a large part of the action of what we see in the movie. Now look, I don't want to spoil this whole theoretical multiversal movie here, but the Fantastic Four would eventually defeat Doom in some form or fashion. However, the incursions would not be stopped. In fact, things get far worse. The Fantastic Four and T'Challa feels that leaving their universe behind, as it is too late to save, is the only option to save the multiverse. And that's when Clea starts to investigate the source of the incursion and finds it to be the 616 Strange, hence the post-credit scene. The Fantastic Four and Multiverse of T'Challa enter the 616 with the weight of losing their universe on their shoulders, creating the ultimate setup for Secret Wars. I mean, imagine the weight on them to stop this from happening to another universe after Reed Richards saw his entire planet go away, and more importantly to T'Challa, his nation of Wakanda fall apart due to their inability to stop the incursions. Also as well, someone who could sneak in during the incursions would be Dr. Doom, who sees that there is no Latveria in the MCU, and there's something that he would change if he were to create another universe, perhaps Battle World after Secret Wars. But look, this could change the game as we know it when it comes to watching the MCU. What If was a taste of what the MCU can do with the multiversal stories, and I think Kevin Feige and Marvel will be taking it to the next level in Phase 5. Think about what was set up in Multiverse of Madness. We were introduced to Earth 838 as a universe that was already established with its heroes. In fact, we could be coming back to the 838 universe with the X-Men 97 series in the works, and the Professor X and the Multiverse of Madness seemingly being from that show. As in the credits in Multiverse of Madness, all but confirmed that to be the case. But doing it this way could be used as a story plot as well as to why the mutants in Fantastic Four aren't in the 616 universe. Of course, having Kang be the reason why we were not able to enjoy them in phases 1 through 3, adding more reason for people to hate Kang the Conqueror. Now look, I know going this route could be a bit risky for the Fantastic Four movie and the X-Men, but when it comes to these properties here, I feel as if people are so eager to see them in the MCU that it won't matter what universe they're in. And honestly, when it comes to the multiverse, everything is pretty much canon now, so it's time to expand our minds. And as I said earlier, having this Fantastic Four outside of the MCU 616 could be very beneficial to Bryce Dallas Howard as the director and John Krasinski as the executive producer and one of the writers as they're rumored to be. Because word on the street was that John really wasn't down for these typical Marvel contracts, but using the multiverse, they could test the waters for the Fantastic Four movie, which again, John is going to have a large input on how this movie is going to come together. But I can see him signing on for maybe 1 or 2 appearances right now after the movie, but then after Secret War happens, he could determine whether or not he wants to be full in or out on this role. But yeah, doing it through the multiverse, I find to be a more effective and more reasonable way to explain the Fantastic Four's absence from the 616 timeline, rather than just simply inserting them into our universe and to say that they already existed in a different type of way. Again, I find that as a difficult way to really prep up Reed's importance to Secret Wars by just inserting him into our timeline. Rather, show that he's been such a dominant and powerful hero in another multiverse. That would go a much further way in explaining why he's so important to Secret Wars. So look, an alternate universe Fantastic Four movie, sign me up. I'm honestly just excited to be getting the Fantastic Four in the MCU because, bruh, honestly, they got a little bit of justice done in the first Fantastic Four movie, but bruh, that was so long ago that it's not even barely in my mind anymore. But let me know in the comments below, would you be here for alternate universe Fantastic Four movie? If not, how would you like to see the Fantastic Four and Reed Richards be brought into this Secret Wars story? Look, I'm your Normie Sensei Master. I'm Kendall, aka the Normies. I'm Kendall, aka the Nerd Sensei with Normies to Nerds. I will see you all in the next video.